Welcome to ASRM Today, a podcast that takes a deeper dive into the current topics in reproductive medicine.
I am Jeffrey Hayes. Wow, here we are, 100 episodes, 2 years later. I debated over the last few weeks about what episode 100 would be about. And in the end, I decided that this milestone needs to be celebrated by celebrating the people who make it happen every single week. This show cannot exist. I am not the only part of the engine. I'm out front of it, but the road to get here is and was just incredible. I still think about it from time to time. I can't believe how we got to this point. When we started talking about doing this podcast way back in 2018, it was a supportive community of people in the education department and the marketing department of ASRM that came together and wanted to make the best show possible. And person number one, first and foremost, is Jessica Goldstein, who I can only describe as the glue of ASRM. They used to describe the comedian Phil Hartman when he was on Saturday Night Live as the glue, the person that just keeps everything together and can really bring things together. Without her support, advice, and know-how, there is just no way that this show would be here now. No way. Also, Sarah Ramaya, who with me had the very unfortunate task of basically we beta tested this show in format. We didn't know how to make a podcast. We didn't know how to, we built this from scratch and research and reading and testing. And Sarah and I did beta tests with, I'm trying to remember, with Zoom and some other phone-based. I think we even did Skype, and we did some test interviews, and they what we learned from them was that we had to get better. I'll basically say that, and it was without her help, the show would never have gotten off the ground, and her workshopping helped dramatically to get us to this point that we're at today. I want to say thank you to the podcast task force we assembled originally when we needed some outside voices to help shape content. This amazing group of people came to Birmingham, and we spent time one weekend in our new. We built a little studio space in the basement of ASRM, and we just worked out some scenarios, and we also worked out the first of what would eventually become the educational content calendar, which is sort of this internal thing we use to help guide the education department in all things that we do now. Some of those task force members have gone on to help create the SART Fertility Experts podcast and Fertility and Sterility on Air. So I am always grateful to all of those wonderful, wonderful people. And I'm glad that it helped also to produce these other wonderful podcasts that we share. I want to thank Dr. Shevis Shannon, who continues to support and provide brainstorming sessions and help create, meaningful content, the week-to-week content. Dr. Shannon came on board and helped us to really organize things and truly get our feet under us after we had a really rushed start. And the start of the show was at the beginning of the pandemic. It was being finalized over Zoom and Teams calls, and then ultimately recorded from here, from my home studio, where it all began. It suddenly, we went from, is it going to happen, to, oh, it's happening in March of 2020. And, it's amazing how when you suddenly just start doing something, after you test it and you've poked around and you've thought about it some, and then you just go. And we've not stopped. We've not stopped since, and hopefully it's gotten better with each and every week. I want to thank each and every guest who has ever done this show. I am in awe of the level of professionals I've had the absolute honor of speaking with. When I say that at the end of a show, when I tell a guest it's been an absolute treat, an honor, that's not patter. I truly, truly mean that. That I can, these people take 30 or 45 minutes of their very busy schedules to talk with me, and it's a genuine honor and a privilege to be able to spend time with these people who will share their knowledge with me, and in turn then share their knowledge with the listeners. So 100 episodes in the can, as they say, the professional speak. We will be back next week with another episode, and I look forward to the next 100 episodes. Thank you to all the listeners who make this not a job. This is not a job, but it is but rather it's an absolute joy to bring this show out each and every week. I'm Jeffrey Hayes, and this is ASRM Today.
This concludes this episode of ASRM Today. For show notes, author information, and discussions, go to asrmtoday.org. This material is copyrighted by the American Society for Reproductive Medicine and may not be reproduced or used without express consent from ASRM. ASRM Today series podcasts are supported in part by the ASRM Corporate Member Council.
The information and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of ASRM and its affiliates. These are provided as a source of general information and are not a substitute for consultation with a physician.